We are back with another video of Focus Vibez, man. How y'all doing? How y'all week going? How your day going? Wherever day it is right now. This video, we're gonna actually talking about why the importance of educational content. Like I said on previous videos, we're gonna actually start this series of the importance of all these contents. And we're gonna talk about the importance of educational content. And now this it's a prime example of educational content and just bringing value to your audience. And even of the fact that I'm bringing value to the audience and it's making the audience more smarter than what they was before. And you actually, how can I even put it in words? You the actually insider, giving information on what you know in your field and on lost my train of thought. What works? What actually works? What type of stuff? Okay, only can speak on this educational content and what is the importance of educational content, and I'm telling you why the importance, why you should do educational content for your brand, whatever brand that you're in. You could be a hairstylist. You can actually teaching people of how to even actually do hair, how to do sewing, how to do braids. And when someone comes along the lines of, okay, I don't know a name, I'm not gonna throw a name out there because I might say anyway. But yeah, you actually teaching hair and you actually putting that type of content out, teaching people about hair. And once you be the one of teaching people the hair, they already know exactly, okay, who they even actually go to learn about hair and even actually hair products. If you want to go along the lines of that, teaching about hair products. And people will know, okay, all right, I built this trust along the lines of, okay, this is the type of value I bring, and actually telling people about, okay, how to do this, how to do that. And educational content, man, you might challenge the audience. And even with somebody that could be out there that's, okay, I'm trying to use this. I love using examples because once I use examples, and then you actually get a more understanding. And okay, a filmmaker, prime example, and maybe somebody out there that's trying to get into filmmaking, and you putting content, you teaching about filmmaking, and you teaching the basics, ISO, shutter speed, aperture, and what else along the lines of that, composition, lighting, audio, and you're bringing value to that person or to the audience, and there's maybe that somebody is out there that was trying to even actually learn of, okay, what is aperture? And you got a video teaching about what is aperture. And or you got a video about what is shutter speed. And they search up what is shutter speed. Boom, they saw your video on YouTube. Now, that's a formal way of educational content. The thing with educational content, though, is of the fact you gotta be also relatable. Now I know what you're thinking, like what he means, so be relatable when you're making educational content. Relatable is more so of making it more interesting to the person that's even actually listening to you. And it just makes sense what I'm trying to say. So when you're making a video explaining about whatever educational content that you put out there, and how do you say it, if this makes sense what I'm saying. Like, okay, I could be talking about my sister, and of me trying to explain something to her along the lines of what I do, and I could talk about a time where I was trying to teach her about this or teach her about that, but referring back to what I'm mainly talking about, and it just makes sense what I'm trying to say. And so, okay, maybe I'm teaching about dogs. Let's put this out, and I'm just using an example for educational content, right? I'm teaching about dogs, and I was teaching my sister about dogs, and I'll tell you a story of the time where I told my sister if she put her hand near the dog's gonna bite her, right? So even of the fact that I told her like this is going to happen, and all. And the whole thing I wanted to talking about dogs, but I'm actually talking about, okay, if you put your hand right here, the dog's gonna bite you, right? So even of the fact that the dog's going to bite you, and I'm outside showing visuals of me near a dog and all, okay, I'm trying to put this in words so it can actually make sense and all, right? So let's say, for instance, right, got a dog right here and all, right? I'm making a video and I say in the middle of the video and I'll be like, okay, there was a time when I told my sister about when she put her hand right here, the dog's gonna bite her. And along the line, she didn't listen. So when she put her hand right there and boom, the dog bit her. And so along the lines of that, teaching about educational content, it could have been a challenge of a person of why do dogs bite you if you put your hand or something there, right? I'm just trying to use this example so they all make sense. But yeah, even actually telling stories that relate to back to referring to what are you even talking about and all. Yeah. Getting people invested into your content and along the lines of the educational content and all. Educational content it can be as challenging sometimes and all, but when I say make educational content, along the lines of that, make educational content that's comforts for you and your brand and all. And people always gonna have their own opinions and say this or say that and all. But when you actually make an educational content, you gotta also thinking about this too. Is this something I'm going to watch for myself and all? If I put this content out there and all, am I going to make this for me? Well, would I be looking at this myself? So you just got to keep those questions in mind, because even along the lines of sometimes when I make educational content at times and I even actually go back and watch the videos that I actually make, and I'm sitting here and I'm asking questions like, would I be the person, if I was a consumer watching this, would I watch this myself and all? So yeah, I just keep those in mind. When I'm making these videos at Focus Vibez and all, I say this in numerous videos, but for the new listeners that even watch this, I actually make content along the lines, when it comes down to this, in this series, Focus Vibez, I make it talking about my experience and all. But along the lines of that, even talking about my experience, it's still a combine of personal and educational type of content. It even got behind the scenes and all, but I even actually blend these personal stories and put it in an educational format and all, so you can, for the people out there that can relate to what I'm even actually talking about. And so man, putting educational content out there to add value to your brand, letting people know, okay, if I need to learn about this, is the person I'm actually going to go to. And so look, man, educational content ain't hard to do, and make somebody smarter out there. That's on the lines of grow and share. I know I probably said this, probably said this in another video, but about the perspective of my perspective of life now, and my perspective of life now is to grow and share. And you should actually be doing the same thing with your brand and actually educating people on your expertise of whatever that you do out there. Now, you can make educational content and along the lines of in your own way. And if you a cook, if you a baker, right? There's thousands of bakers out there and all, but you have to look at along the lines of what makes you unique, what makes you different than the other baker from across the street or down the road and all. Think about when you're making educational content and all, okay, when you're a baker, what makes your cakes different from the other person's cakes? And what ingredients did you put in your cakes and that somebody else can use to make their cake taste way better than auntie's? I don't know. I don't know. I'm trying to put it in words so it can make sense to you guys. And when you making educational content, don't make it hard. Don't overthink it and all, because it could be a challenge. But listen, it's gonna be all worth it in the end when you put this out, when you put that educational content out for your brand. So that being said, man, in conclusion, and all, like I just said, don't make it hard. Put the content out there and letting people know your expertise in your field, or even actually what you do. And pick up the camera and actually record. And you ain't even got to do it with a professional camera. You can do it with your phone. And I'll just explain it. Now, there's a couple more techniques that you probably need to learn when you actually making educational content and all. I'm talking about composition, lighting, and all that, and all to convey emotion. But that's along the lines of something else, another video, and all. But yeah, put that educational content out there. You can even actually make it a video just like this, and where you actually talking in the camera, explaining about your expertise, or teaching someone, okay, how to even actually do shutter speed, or how to even actually do aperture and the proper way. If that's what you want to put in your educational content, and do that and all. But like I say, just don't make it hard. Make it easy for yourself, man. Educational content is important, and put yourself as an expert of your field and in your industry. I'll put it like that. I don't know why I say the wrong words, and but man, it is 3 o'clock in the morning, and so I might get some sleep. I don't know. Might make another video. Who knows? On the lines of that though, y'all be safe out there, and like, comment, and subscribe to the channel, and once you do that, and you even actually push the algorithm out even more, letting us know who we actually reaching out to, or who we actually, the content is even actually for, and so I'm your boy Reek, man. You already know the saying. That right there is a better day. Swim for life. We out.